Well, that's not exactly how we thought that one was going to go. After a frenetic finish, Sixers fall in overtime, 122-119 to the Cavaliers. Amy Fiddle, Jim Line, and Mark Jackson. This is Sixers Postgame Live, brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. This was their group stage finale in the in-season tournament. We'll see how everything else shakes out, but it'll be interesting because right now they would be a real long shot somehow to even make it into the tournament. But this one at the half, you were thinking the Sixers weren't playing that well. They came out a little bit still stagnant in the third, but Jim, they came on with full force in the fourth and really made this quite the entertaining game after the way it started.
They really did, Aim, and you have to give Cleveland a lot of credit. They played extremely well at both ends of the floor in this game. But kudos to the Sixers, as you said, they dug in. Their best quarter, which is often the case defensively, was the fourth. And with that defense, they will tie the game. But I really think fatigue set in that overtime period. And again, Cleveland came up with big-time plays. Sixers had a shot at the end, but not enough.
Yeah, Mark, we're going to talk about some of those plays, but down the stretch, you saw some interesting kind of, defenses the Sixers were trying to do because they needed the Cavaliers to make those mistakes and turn the ball over so they could get the opportunities on their end. Absolutely.
Sixers tried to maneuver in the second half to make adjustments to the defense because Garland was having his way, but Garland was just on fire today, and when he wasn't scoring, he's facilitating, making sure guys had shot. When you got the big fella Allen there doing what he does, which is finishing. And the 1-2 punch that Allen and the big kid have, Mobley with the alley-oops catch in the middle lane, it's a very difficult offense to stop because of their bigs' ability to finish as well also as distribute the ball.
Yeah, they ran the pick and roll to perfection there at times, certainly in the fourth quarter. Let's pick this one. It seemed like the Sixers weren't able to get over the hump. Were kind of stuck at that 7-point mark for a while, but they cut it to 3 with under 3 points, or 3 minutes to go, pardon me. So you're thinking okay, now you're feeling it. Tobias Harris buries the 3. They did not shoot the 3 ball particularly well. Jim, do you think there was concerted effort to try to shoot more triples? Why weren't they going inside? Just because of Mobley and Jared Allen?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Cleveland defensively, I thought they did a good job. They really didn't double Joel excessively. And now this was that play where it was reviewed.
Right.
And Strus is called for the flagrant foul, flagrant 1. It was a marginal call, I think, but he did hit Maxey in the head. Maxey made the 2 free throws.
And then here, this was an unbelievable. This is when I knew I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
When shots like that go in, you're thinking, okay, well, it's just not our night. I mean, that's a prayer right there, Mark Jackson.
It was, Amy. It was very difficult when you play that good defense, and then he throws us on like that, and then Joel right here with the chuk bang. I take it.
And this is a tough shot. I mean, we've seen him make this time and time again. You see him try it a little bit later, but he gets enough separation. He
had the game, what would have been the game winner is the exact same shot, but here's the play you're talking about. They pick and roll the guy into the middle of the defense. See, he rolls there and stops. Joe has to come up, and now he dumps down. And as Mark said, that takes a playmaker to make that pass. Give the big guy credit.
It's interesting, Pat Bev is the one who's getting a lot of these quality minutes, and it's buckets like that. He actually had a huge rebound right before that to keep the play alive. It's interesting that he was getting these minutes, Mark.
It's interesting, but, he was playing, we needed somebody to contest with Garland. Garland was having his way, and it was his number to be called. And he came with some big plays late in that game.
Yes, he did. So now we go to overtime, and this is what you wanted to see. This is what you're thinking. Great play, 2-man game there.
Yeah, and Embiid, as he said, he was going to just use his brute force there to drop his head and get it to the rim. And you see Wade is powerless to stop him.
Here's a guy who's had a tremendous couple of games against the Nuggets and now against the Sixers, Craig Porter, who undrafted out of Wichita State, former JUCO player before he got to Wichita, and he had no fear.
He was solid, this guy. He can penetrate a ball. I don't know if he can shoot it, but he can drive a ball into that paint.
Defensively, he went right at Joel Embiid. So here we go. Under a minute to go. Great workaround. You saw the defense completely collapse there in the middle against Joel Embiid. All those white shirts right there.
And the hockey pass.
Yep.
Boom.
Great extra pass there.
Toby came up big with 23 today.
So here you go. This is Porter to Allen, and they worked that perfection. That's perfection.
Again, see the drive into the paint off the offensive rebound. See it?
Good rebound.
And Porter knows what he's doing. He arrested his forward motion, little bounce pass, to the big. This was an exciting game.
It was. It really was an exciting
Terrific play here by Nick Nurse, and oh my Lord.
I can't believe that
Maxie
didn't go in.
missed the layup, and Joe, I think, had a tap at it.
Yeah, and then.
But watch what Maxie goes to the back court like, I'm not going to be involved. The pass came in directly to Joe, and they backdoored Maxie to the goal. Look at this.
Truly remarkable.
Oh, wow.
That didn't go in. And obviously, in being careful, not wanting to take it off the cylinder, right. But Embiid had actually fouled out right there. A little bit of a ticky-tack foul. Looked like it was more on Pat Bev, but Sixers unfortunately didn't have a review, so they were not they were without the services.
Yeah, look at Beverly.
I mean, Beverly's the one that hit him.
The problem, Aim, it's probably an inexperienced ref on the other side where Joe is. So when two people foul like that, normally you don't call it on a superstar. But
correct.
Bad angle.
So no Joel Embiid for the final play. That's a pretty tough shot. I don't know how that would have a chance of going in, Mark.
I mean, you got by any means necessary, trying to get the shot off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was off balance and made the shot go a little short, but we fell short on that.
They did have one last attempt, as you can see, that was put out of bounds by the Cavaliers, and they just aren't able to get the ball, and that is how this one ended. But honestly, the game started out a little bit bleak. This was an exciting finish. Sixers don't get the win. They finished 2-2 in Group A play. The Pacers won their game. An unbelievable score. You have to look it up. You can't believe me. The total on that one is over 300 points. It was an absolute frenetic game on that one. But the Pacers won. They beat the Hawks like 155-152. It's just incredible to even say that's a basketball score. Yeah. Not in overtime, by the way. So the Sixers, you would think, would somehow be eliminated. But I'm wondering if maybe because of this having the extra kind of in-season tournament, that's where the intensity picked up in this one, because it's not just a regular game in November, Mark. It's
not, Amy. It's just not a run-of-the-mill type of game. This is the in-season game. This is a tournament, rather. This has a lot of extra stakes on the hand, and that's why it got so tough at the end. And I thought both teams tonight, from a Sixers point of view, were really going all out. It's just that once that train of momentum start going with Garland and Garrett and Allen, it causes so much havoc. It was hard to continue late in the game, and they found it later. We made some adjustments, but then at last fourth quarter, like 6 minutes left, they started going back to it and started finding success with it. Yeah, the Cavaliers certainly rebounded the ball quite well, as we showed you in a lot of those clips. Let's check in with Nick Nurse after his team's loss.
Uphill battle all night?
Well, it certainly was an uphill battle. At least I think comfortable, probably never, but at least thought we were going to be in there with a chance, a 50-50 chance of it going either way, and which kind of that's the way it ended up. So I think at least we were, we raised our level of play up, especially in the second half, and we gave ourselves a chance and just didn't work out.
What do you think was the reason for the slow start today?
Well, I just again didn't think we were the physicality of the ball at both ends was really the big difference in the first half. When we drive around them, they would body us out the lane. And we were just a little jumpy. I thought we were jumping our feet, turning our feet, not sliding early, right? And obviously we did a much better job in the second half of that. At least getting some stops and playing a little harder and more physical. Yeah.
What type of impact do you think Pat Bev played in order to allow you guys to kind of get back into it?
Yeah, I mean, we just we were having a hard time keeping the ball in front. We were having a hard time with the pick and roll at times, and he was able to shut the water off on a lot of that, and I thought the group, House, Covington, Pat, they were getting the deflections and knocking the ball, equating a few turnovers, which we needed because we were getting some good offense out of that at the other end.
You had a lot of time at the last play in regulation, and you got a Joel Isom at the right elbow. Is that the play that you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted him to have the ball and obviously take the shot if it was one-on-one, and if it wasn't, we had some movement, we had some cutters. We told him to keep their eyes up in case the double team came, and he would make the right play, and it was a one-on-one play and pretty good shot.
Nick, now I guess having to hop on a plane, go play Minnesota tomorrow night. How do you kind of manage Joel and and everybody else in the game?
Yeah, I mean, we'll certainly have to look at that. Once we get on the plane, obviously heavy minutes for a lot of guys. We're certainly going to need, some of the guys that didn't start the game, pretty low minutes. We're certainly going to need to, get them some run and some extended run tomorrow, and need them. This is the kind of game you need those guys to come out and, instead of having their little 4 or 5 minute, 6 minute stints, they might be into some 9, 10, 11 minute stints tomorrow. So we're going to need them.
You look back sort of in the April, May, June season at nights like tonight, early in the season, close game, overtime experience, low clock experience. What do you hope that the guys take from a night like this? Well,
I think all that stuff's good. We're going to get plenty of that, right? We'll certainly, be able to dissect the film and see. Obviously, there's situational things that we can do better. I mean, it's kind of the story of the night, really. That we down one, we had an unbelievable play called to get a wide open layup, and it rolls off, and we had a tip in with 2 inches away that rolls off too. And then they bank in a 3 at the shot clock. I mean, it was just kind of, I think the ball was just, again, I always say that sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way, and it's going to go 50-50. And I think at least we got ourselves into position to that. My biggest thing, though, is we got to understand, like that's a good team coming in, and just make sure we don't try to ease into the game, right? I think we were on a scale of 1 to 10 physicality-wise, we were a 2, and then we took it to 9 or 10 in the second half, and I think that it did make us have to chase the game a little bit.
What's your level of disappointment falling to 2-2 in in-season tournament play and Indiana winning the group?
We're disappointed. I think, again, we stated, right from the beginning of this thing, we thought it was a cool idea. Our guys talked a lot about, wanting to advance in the tournament. Guess we're not going to, so we're going to have to try to find a positive out of there. There's got to be one. There's got to be a positive of not being able to play, and we can focus on our regular season and all that kind of stuff.
This Cavs team has a lot of long and big players. They played a Dean Wade, a pretty big player on Tyrese. You feel like the length and the size that they have in their defense made things tougher for him early on?
I don't know about that. I think that I thought he had some pretty good chances. I thought he had some good looks at 3. I'm just trying to think. I just don't think there was many of those 3s that I would have wanted him to turn down or that he was forcing up there. I can't even think of one, even like an end of quarter or something. Even a few of the step back lefts, we see him do that all the time. But I don't. I think he had some decent looks. It's just, again, we just didn't make 1 or 2 more of those, or have a average night for him, and maybe it's a different result.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks everybody.
You heard Coach Nurse talking about some of the 50-50 chances they had, and obviously how they closed this game, but also the disappointment that they were all in on this tournament. They were hoping that they could get to that next round, the knockout round. Unfortunately, they don't. They finished 2-2 in play, and the Pacers are the ones they're going to win because they are undefeated in play. They're 3-0, and they have the Pistons to close it out. But he has to be pleased with, I guess, certain aspects of this, but it's still a tough loss to swallow when you have it there for the taking several times, Mark.
I guess it's good aspects. You had some guys that played very well. Pat Bev gave you some good minutes late. Maxey, Joel played well. Tobias did what he does. Has been, a norm. But, the players in the locker room, I think Coach understands, like, okay, you got your guys. We're about to talk money here, so be careful. So we have your top guys making max deals, right? But then you look at the other guys on veteran minimums, or these other guys like Furkan, Mo Bamba, Springer. What this Paul Reed, even though he signed a good deal, like guys is making less. Like this hurts a little bit more. So as a coach, you want to take, okay, we got some good things out here, but none of that means nothing in the locker room. Because whether we care or not, money is money. And this team is a really good team, and it's like you go to the point like it's very disappointing that they exit early from this tournament.
Yeah, agreed. It was the first year of this tournament, and it definitely created this new wrinkle. But Mark's talking about the money. Winners of the in-season tournament, each player gets $500,000. And we said it on pregame. Damian Lillard just spoke facts and said that's family-changing money for a lot of these players that are here on minimum contracts, league minimum, and small contracts. So $500,000 is still $500,000. And unfortunately, the Sixers won't have a chance to play for that. We're back with a look at the East Group A standings. That's the Sixers group. As you can see, the Cavaliers with the win. They're 2-1. Pacers, an unbelievable game with the Hawks. 157-152 was the final, not overtime in Atlanta. So you can see the Pacers, they claim the Group A, so they will move on to the quarterfinal spot. Quarterfinals are played at different sites, and then the semifinals and the final are all played in Las Vegas, so 2 games out in Vegas. But the Sixers now move on. They obviously have to move on from the tournament. I think that the taste of it is going to help them prepare for other different things, because we talked about it. It's an elimination type game, and it kind of had that extra air in it. And Jim, that can only help, even though you didn't win, benefits you later on.
Yeah, I think Nick Nurse made a good point, Aim. He used a phrase, I think I have it right. He said, we can't ease our way into the game. He said in terms of physicality in the first half, on a scale of 2, or rather 1 to 10, we were at 2. And I would agree with that. I just thought that the aggressiveness of Cleveland, particularly in the first half, and as a result, you find yourself 18 points down at one point. So a terrific comeback to give yourself a chance to win, and they certainly had their chances. But you can't drop, behind like that and expect good results. Yeah,
Kate Scott mentioned it. It just seemed like everybody was kind of stagnant there a little bit, certainly in the first half, and then even to come out of the second half in that third quarter. But they woke up in the fourth, and that's when it became exciting. But Mark, what do you take away from this? This new kind of wrinkle with this in-season tournament, this kind of playoff type of atmosphere, even though if it's not playoffs in November.
I like the enthusiasm the guys bring. I like the competitive nature. It seems like you could tell guys are not just going about it as a regular season game. There's more value to the game. I love the energy. I'm a big fan of it. I've been a big fan of stuff like this ever since my time in Europe, living in Europe. I love it in soccer over there, the basketball, and every sport over there except for America. We're the only country that don't do it. But hopefully it sticks and it's well deserved. The fame and the stardom that it gets, because when you really look into the rules and understand how it goes, it's big time, man. It's really going to draw a lot of eyes.
Yeah, we saw the interview in the game with Evan Wash about this tournament and some of the wrinkles it's created, and I thought it was really interesting because he said, maybe we've looked at a couple things and different things that could be on the line besides just money down the line. All right, we're going to check out our Yingling Presents Lager Up, and unfortunately, a couple of lagers might help you look at this one, because it's the inability for the Cavaliers to guard the guards out of the paint. The inability of the Sixers, to keep the Cavalier guards out of the paint. I mean, we talked about the pick and roll, but they were able to just slash their way through, Jim.
Yeah, well, there was just straight out drives, pick and roll, but no question that the Cleveland game plan was to drive the ball or get the ball into the basket area. And, they kind of caught the Sixers. They got them both ways, as Mark said at halftime. The guards penetrated to the rim, and the big guys were slipping to the basket. And when you have a double dose like that with your defense, you're usually in trouble.
Craig Porter going at Nick Batum, points of the game, going at Joel Embiid. And then you can see Darius Garland, former All-Star from last year. He had a tremendous game, Mark.
He did. I mean, this guy's been playing great since he first came into the league, and he has not let down at all. And he seems to have a light versus the Sixers. He seems to have their light because he really gets it going.
Jim, when you're seeing a team that works this pick and roll to perfection against you, is this something? I mean, you obviously have to work on it, but you're going to see this again because it's a copycat league. They're going to see how much everybody was able to dissect the Sixers with this.
Yeah, sometimes, Aim, like whether it's a guy shooting the ball real well, you used a good phrase. That pick and roll play over the course of the game was pick and roll to perfection. Yes. And it's very frustrating for a coach, when you can't quite come up with the answer. It seems whatever tactic we try, we give a little bit more pressure, double teaming the guard, then the big guy is slipping or getting lobs to the rim. We don't give enough help, then the guard's turning the corner. He's getting to the rim for a layup or a floater. And tonight, Cleveland had the answers, believe me.